Hey, I'm here with Mr. B. We're working in the shop. We're getting some cars running. We're getting cleaned up for the big event. So let's get to it.
All right, guys, we're in the shop. We're cleaning up. This is a cleanup day. We're moving some cars around here with Dirk.
Hey, guys.
Tell us about this car, Dirk.
Well, first of all, both of us suffer from CAD. That's car attention deficit disorder. So I showed up, I was gonna do something else, and then Eric's cleaning up around here, and let's pump some air in these tires and move this car. Another shiny object. Well, we go rushing over here and we're gonna do this. So
it's not so shiny.
Yeah, it's not so shiny object running. So, okay, cars have started a couple of years. I did kind of put some gas stabilizer, or maybe. We're gonna see what happens, but tried to start it initially, and
So, just for their sake, tell us what kind of car we're looking at here.
Yeah, I got to get to the point here.
Yeah.
So this is a Rover P6 station wagon. It actually wasn't built by Rover. It was actually built by a company called FLM Panelcraft that actually bought Rovers that were sedans, cut the back off, and made that what they call an Astora, or an estate, as they call it in the UK. So it's a station wagon.
Station wagon,
yeah. Yeah.
That's what we'd call it here.
Yeah. So the deal is they only got 150 or 70 people to actually buy these. So there's only about 170.
So it's pretty rare.
It's pretty rare.
Pretty rare car.
Yeah, we have three.
Just for people that aren't familiar with it, explain to us, this is a Rover automobile.
So it's a Rover automobile. Rover Car Company had a model called Land Rover, Range Rover, things like that, but they were principally a car company started in 1904. This vintage is about 1969, 68 range.
Yep.
Probably one of the most successful stretches for Rover in terms of volume of cars were 64 to mid 70s. That was, British-made cars. They were selling well in the UK. They actually made money, and they were part of Leyland, which eventually brought down the whole car industry in the UK. So
here it is, and with guys I know we see a lot of guys working on wagons are becoming popular. The Nomads.
A lot of wagons here, Country Squire,
sure.
Nomads, of course, even newer, the Cutlass Cruiser Estate vehicle.
Yeah, and they're getting good money for those. And this, although if you guys can, I'll give you a better look later, but you can see it's a little bit smaller than something that's American because it is English, European.
It is, but the neat thing about this car is it has the original GM 3.5 liter or 215 cubic inch V8 engine in it.
Yeah.
So it's a fairly lightweight car with 170-ish, 160-ish horsepower, carbureted. So none of this catalytic converter crap or anything like that. So it went okay. You know.
Let's so we got a battery. We put a battery in this. We got the charger on it. Hasn't been running in a while, but Dirk's gonna hop in. I got the old magic fluid. We'll give you a little look under the hood. So let's give it a shot, see if she'll spin over.
Do you think we should get a fire extinguisher? Fuck it.
Might regret that. Okay, so you guys can see here. All right. Go for it.
Contact.
And okay, I think we got a bad connection. All right, we'll be back. Yeah, obviously we're not getting enough power. So we'll be back in a second, see if we can sort that out. Okay guys, so we're back, swapping batteries. That battery just didn't have enough life left in it. So we did what everybody does in their shop, right, Dirk?
Yep, we raped another car for the battery. And hey, it was my kid's car. He's not working on it. It's got a good battery in it. You know what? We'll take that one.
Yep.
I don't know where it went. It's probably mine to begin with anyway. He probably took it from me.
Yeah, that's probably the case.
All right, so let's go see if this battery has enough pump. And then if it doesn't, we'll put the charger on it for a while and then take our ones.
Okay, I'm gonna grab the can of starting fluid. Hopefully we don't need it this time. We'll find out. All right, we'll turn the camera on. All right, contact. Oh. Wow, that's a big difference. Go ahead. Sorry, guys. I'm getting ready to jump out of the way, too. I think we're good.
So let's think about this.
I think we have a fuel issue.
Why aren't we getting fuel to it? Because let's go check and see if we're getting, this has I think a mechanical fuel pump. We can pump it. Unless, we'll see. Oh no, it doesn't, because we're here in the back.
No, it's electric and it's quiet, so.
So it's gotten pressure. It's diaphragm based. Shouldn't be any problem. Some room in there. Get rid of those walnuts. So as you guys can see, this is a Rover V8, but it's based on the Buick. 3.5 liter, right, Dirk? Yeah. So this is a 215 cubic inch engine. A little, really, a lot of people attribute most of the design to GM, but GM couldn't make it work. Rover ended up making it work because instead of trying to cast in the cylinder liners, they figured out a way after the fact to press them in and get them aligned properly. So, I've talked about this before. This engine lasted through into the mid-2000s in various forms of Land Rover and Range Rover, finally peaking out at 4.6 liters. So, people have built these engines as you see it to 500 horsepower. It's an aluminum block, aluminum heads, a lot of horsepower, this little engine. In fact, the 4-cylinder engine that normally goes in this car weighs more than this V8 and is half the displacement.
And that's a casted.
Yeah, it's a cast aluminum block. Yeah. Yep. So
there it is. You guys can check it out. Maybe having a little fuel issue here. So,
well, you leave things to rot for years.
For a long time. So, but it will fire, I guess, if we there's a little bit of work. So we're gonna mess around with this for a little bit,
and then we'll come back and we'll get it running. You guys will see it. Don't worry.
Absolutely. We'll probably be on to something else after this because squirrel. So all right, we put some gas in it. We're gonna check to see if we get some fuel coming up in the fuel pump. Nothing yet. So as you guys can see, that's.
Yeah, we're using only DOT approved water bottles for this.
Heck, that's everybody's favorite fueler. Fill up a water bottle with gasoline, drill a hole in the cap, and off you go. And we got nothing coming up.
I just put 3 gallons of new gas in.
Newish.
New. It smelled like gas. Let's put that way. But this has a 3-way valve, so it has a reserve and it has a main, and so the reserve line was broken. The little lever there was flopped one way, which meant it was off. So I think we'll get some gas up here. We're gonna try starting it. We're not gonna put starter fluid in. We're not gonna put starter fluid. We're gonna try it without the starter fluid.
Right. Okay. No starting fluid. Bad starting fluid.
The pump should go like crazy. Now there is the possibility it's going to leak gas everywhere, so we'll turn the pump on and watch that for first.
Okay. Yep. Nothing's leaking yet. Sounds like it's percolating. It's good. No, nothing leaking yet. I think we're okay. Don't see any puddles on the floor. All right, Buick.
You ready?
Rover V8, here we go. 67. She's gonna go. She's gonna go. It's getting closer. Little cop, but that's to be expected.
All right, hang on.
Station wagon. Oops, sorry guys. So it sounds like might have float issues or something. Or?
Well, no floats in this thing.
Oh, that's right. No floats. Yeah, all diaphragms. Yeah,
so it could be a blown diaphragm, or it could just be it's finicky, it's been sitting for years, blah blah blah, right? So give a couple more tries here, and afterwards, we'll lick our wounds.
So it sounds like it wants to go.
Yeah.
This is definitely starving. But consider this is burn fresh, this thing. Hey, go. Tempting us. So it's alive, it's running, albeit it's a little hungry, but not bad, hasn't been started in a long time. Cool, let's get you right in there. Again, the light is not all that great here, but carburetor's up there.
Ready to do burnouts. Let's go.
I'm gonna go make a water box. I'll be right back. What are we doing now?
Well, I think spark plugs, there's a foul plug or two, and so I got some new plugs in, and I wanted to swap the plugs out. I'm gonna check timing, and I'm also gonna check the vacuum advance. I was working on one of the other cars, and I had some questions on whether it was working. So I hooked up an auto vac unit that I use for brake bleeding to it to see if I could see the points plate rotate, and sure enough it wasn't. Now I had an extra vacuum advance for a car like the same car essentially, except an automatic. So I put that in and it made a world of difference. There's a good chance that the vacuum advance is also a problem. So I'll check that. But I'm going to start with the plugs because it kind of runs rough even at idle, so not even when I need the advance. So something is up, and the plugs didn't look that good, and I haven't changed in a while. So, so I got the Bretts coming over from the UK, and I told them that people could drive cars, so my ego's on the line here. The car's got to kind of run okay. Last thing I need is them telling me how to do them, and blah blah blah.
and just remind everybody, because we have ADD, so
what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Well, this is another Rover. This is 59. This is a straight 6 inlet over exhaust, which means the exhaust valves are in the block, the intakes are in the head. So this was a pretty significant engine for Rover. Take a look at this. That's kind of what I'm talking about right there. I mean, it's running rich, so I may need to do some carburation work to it, but I'm going to start out with new plugs. A little hotter than these, actually.
There you go. There's a little glimpse under the hood. Now, let me show you what this car looks like for those of you who are not Rover aficionados. It's a beautiful little car. Just gotta give you a quick glimpse at the interior. And this at one point was your daily driver, correct?
Yeah, I did. This was my first, I call it pre-60s car since I was a kid, and I bought it on eBay. So I then seen the day I got the next day I got it in. Lizanne and I jumped in and we drove 100 miles to a car show. I had no idea what I was doing, what the car was going to do, anything like that. Learned on the way on the highway that it actually had an overdrive, stuff like that. Thought better things like that in the future when I got cars. But I did. I did a lot of work to it, fix it up, and it is a really enjoyable car actually. It knock on wood, it always starts. And because of all the other cars I've gotten over the years, sometimes this is like a step kid gets ignored, but I do come back to her. Yeah, look at this plug. It's all sooty and dirty, so it really isn't running. It's running really rich. So I'm hoping the new plugs fix that, but we could be talking carburation.
All right. So I'm going to put some plugs in this. I say we when I say we. I mean Dirk is going to put some plugs in this. And
we're going to see how she goes, and then hope I don't break it, and then we'll take her for a drive and let you guys know how it all works out.
All right. All right. So looks like we're on number 4 out of 6. 4 out of 6. So something that's cool on this car to show you guys. Some of your younger kids, and I've got a lot of light here, so I should probably go get a light. This right here is the windshield washer fluid?
Yeah, that's the glass bowl for the windshield wipers. So I actually took the hose off because I pull it down, but they feed up here, and you take the bottle out, and it's pretty much like the Welch's grape jar.
It's literally a glass bottle.
It is, yeah. And most cars in the 40s, 50s, 60s that had washers were glass bottles because, frankly, there wasn't such thing as plastic in the way we think of it.
Right.
So
while he's working on that, let me give you a better tour of the interior of the car. I kind of showed you a little bit, but we'll give you a little tour of the interior. So something that's unique about this, Dirk, of course, it has suicide doors. Sort of. What do they call that?
They pretty much call them suicide doors. The deal was that it made it a lot easier to get in and out of the car. It really did. This is, like 59, late 50s, and some cars had some suicide doors, but frankly, once they got into the late 50s and 60s, the few cars like Lincoln that had them, they were fairly safe. They didn't pop open like some of the early 30s cars.
That's the reason they call them suicide doors. So, yeah, I can show you this. See, there you go. See, your back door opens up, kind of like what you might see in a limousine, maybe sometimes. So there you go. That's kind of a view of the interior of the car. Opens wide open.
Yeah, this one, the interior was changed before I got it, and I hadn't gotten around to really changing it back because it would have been a proper leather. It would have been single color. It typically wouldn't have been two-tone, but I had other cars to work on, so the interior was good enough, so I left it that way.
Yeah. All right. Take a little look here. See, there's your dashboard. Of course, this is a left-hand drive car, even though it's English. So this was an American import, right?
Right, it's either American or Canadian.
Canadian, okay, might have been Canadian, he says. You can see along the doors here, it's wood trim.
That's African walnut, actually. African walnut. This is not a veneer. This is solid. This is solid wood. The dash is a veneer, but all the window surrounds, as they call them, are solid, and they call them African walnut. You really, I don't think you can even get this wood. They don't have the trees anymore. That's the deal. Everything was made of wood because wood was everywhere, right?
Sure, right. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. A little bit dark here, but you can kind of see in the back seat. It's fairly roomy. It's not a giant car, but it's also not a small car by any means. I'll give you a little look around the back here too while walking around. So there's the back of it. And this, of course, is I don't know if you can read that. It's Rover 105. So late 50s car. It certainly has modern lines even for the 50s.
You know why they call it the 105?
Why do they call it the 105?
105 horsepower.
It's 105 horsepower. So there you go, 6-cylinder, 105 horsepower. Single carburetor on this?
No, this is the 105, so the 105 always had twin carburetors.
Twin carburetors, okay.
And they actually
Oh
made...
yeah, they're there, right there. One there. And I don't know if you can see it in the back, but there's the other one. Of course, there's your air intake.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, twin carburetors, twice the pain in the ass, you know. But,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, it did give you that oomph, if you will, if you could call 105 horsepower oomph.
And this car is a standard transmission, right?
Yeah, so this has a 4-speed, but it has an electric overdrive, so it has a little lever on the steering column you flip up, and I use it like a 5-speed. I flip it in and out, and what's nice about the overdrive is that when you go below 35 miles an hour, it automatically drops down, or if you step on the gas, it drops the solenoid out so the overdrive drops out. So for all intents and purposes, it's a 5th gear.
All right, so plugs are in. Let's kind of clean it up here. So
Let's see how she starts up. It definitely revving a little better. You know, it's cold as all heck, and these things are so cold-blooded. You need to really warm them up on the choke for a little bit. So, you know, we're inside. We're not hooked up to exhaust evacuation, so we'll take her outside in a little bit and see how she's running.
all right. All right, we're back. What are we doing?
Well, it's raining out, so I'm not going to take the car and make a mess of it. But like I told you at the beginning of this, I have some suspicions that maybe the vacuum advanced diaphragm is not working, frozen, broken, whatever. So what we're going to do is my little, you know, hack. If you have a vacuum advanced, this is the diaphragm right here. You're getting your vacuum from your manifold or carburation. As the engines rev, obviously more vacuum comes. It starts to pull the advance unit forward, okay? The advance unit is on this little shaft that goes through here. There's actually a little knob that allows you to actually set, you know, in advance, depending upon how good your gas is. So if you got bad gas, you're retarded. You have much better gas, you can advance it, get a little more power out of the car. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna pull off the vacuum line right here, and I'm gonna grab my little handy dandy air bleeder. I bought this at Harbor Freight, and to be honest with you, it's worked pretty well. You know, you're supposed to hook this up to your bleeder, you pull, and it's a 1-person bleeder. So what I'm doing here is I'm hooking this up to the advance, and what I'm looking for when I pull this is I'm looking for the points plate, and I happen to have Pertronics on this, but I'm looking for this to pull back. So that vacuum unit's actually working. That's actually pulling the advance. The vacuum would normally come through this hose as RPMs go up, vacuum goes up, and it slowly pull forward to advance the car. So that's good. That's a good thing. Well, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. It's raining out, as I said. Mr. B and I are going to go get something to eat and talk about what's up for tomorrow.